what is a limit order? What is a stop order? When do you use what order? And you see, this is extremely important because, as you'll see in just a moment, when you try to enter or exit a trade and you're using the wrong order, you will lose money. You need to know which order to use for your entries and for your exits. So let's actually jump here on the whiteboard. Let's actually draw a little bit. So I want to draw a stock price. So there's a chart here. And I want to draw a line in the sand here where I say, okay, so let's say we specify a level of 100. And now let's say that we are betting on a market that is going up. So this means that we want to buy a stock. If we want to buy a stock, as soon as it crosses above 100, we would specify that we buy the stock, which could be, for example, Apple, at 100 stop. This means as soon as Apple moves above 100, buy it. So on the other hand, if you want to buy Apple and want to pay a maximum of $100, you would say buy Apple at 100 limit. So what is the main difference between a stop and a limit order? A stop order is being executed as soon as prices move above the price if you're trying to buy it, right? So as soon as we move above 100, you're buying it. So if Apple opens the next day at 110, you're buying Apple at 110. On the other hand, if you're specifying a limit order of 100, meaning that you only want to pay a maximum of 100, and the next day Apple opens at 110, you would not get filled because you specified that you only want to buy if you are below 100. Is this making sense thus far? Okay, so then let me explain the same thing for the downside if you're trying to sell something. Now the major difference is that instead of buying, we say we want to sell a stock. Because when you sell a stock, it is the exact opposite. Again, when you're buying and you specify 100 stop, you're buying when it moves above. When you're selling and you're betting on a falling market, if you say sell AAPL at 100 stop, it means that you're selling it as soon as it goes below $100. Now, on the other hand, if you're specifying a sell order to sell AAPL at 100 limit, it means that this is being executed if prices are above 100. So, might screw a little bit with your brain. The good news is you can print it out, you can put it on a post-it, and you can do it on your screen. So let me give you the shortcut of when I use what order. The way how I personally trade. For my entry order, I always use a stop order. And this is what we talked about because I want to make sure in a rising market that we move above the previous day's high, and only when we do this, I want the order to be executed. So for my entry order, I am using a stop order. For my stop loss, and the name kind of says it already, I'm using a stop order because I want to make sure that if the trade is going against me, as soon as it hits the predefined level, that I'm automatically exiting, right? So this is where if I bet on a rising market and the stock goes against me, as soon as it hits my predefined level, I want to get out of this. Now, for my profit target, I am using a limit order. Okay, because I want to make sure that I'm taking profits as soon as we are crossing above a certain level. So this is the shortcut basically. So for your entry order, I recommend using a stop order. For your stop loss, use a stop order, and for your profit target, use a limit order. Is this helpful? And again, this is not supposed to be a comprehensive explanation because, as you can see, it can get tricky. I want you to remember the shortcut. Now, I want to touch on one more order that you might have. If you're not specifying whether you're using stop or limit, if you're not specifying anything, by default, you're using a so-called market order. And when you use a market order, this is writing a blank check to your broker. It means buy or sell at whatever price. I don't care about the price. So when would you ever use a market order? Well, for me personally, this is the so-called order. So it means when you realize that you made a mistake, let's say you wanted to buy 100 shares of Apple, but accidentally you bought 1,000 shares of Apple. In this moment, sell at whatever price, because trust me, it usually only gets worse. Or when you realize that you used the wrong order, or when you realize that you are in Lululemon and then you realize, I shouldn't be in there, and you just see it's in my account, liquidate it, okay? When you made a mistake, liquidate. Write this down, it's a good one. When you made a mistake, liquidate. That's when you use a market order. It is the oops order. Other than this, I would personally never use it, because it is like writing a blank check to your broker and tells your broker, when you say buy Apple and you do not specify a price and an order type, it means buy Apple at whatever price is right now available. And I like to have a controlled entry and exit in the market so that I know exactly at what price I'm getting in and out. Because after all, as you know, I am German and I like it to be precise. I also like the market to come to me, and I don't like to chase the market. This is why I'm drawing these lines in the sand, and then I'm using stop or limit order so that my order is getting executed once the stock crosses this line in the sand. I hope that you found this helpful, and if you did, click like and leave a comment and say, yes, this was helpful, and I hope that you enjoyed watching the show as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And if you know anybody who might find this video helpful, please feel free to share it, because especially the part about using a stop and a limit order is extremely important. When you use the wrong order, you might lose money. Almost always you lose money because you're entering when you don't want to enter. You all have a fantastic day. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll talk to you very soon.